This story opens with a scene that many people never saw. A palace filled with gold, history and rules that go back hundreds of years. Cameras flash outside those gates, crowds cheer, newspapers write long stories, but the real truth of what happened inside those stone walls remained hidden. The world saw two beautiful royal women smiling at official events, but behind those smiles lived tension, pressure and unspoken conflict. Meghan Markle entered this world like a fresh wave. She came from Hollywood success, independent thinking and a life where she spoke her mind. She was bold, modern and full of ideas that challenged tradition. On the other side stood Kate Middleton, the future queen, calm, polite and raised to fit into the royal way of life. Kate understood silence, control, patience and duty. Meghan believed in voice, expression and change. When Meghan married Prince Harry, everyone expected friendship, support and unity between the two duchesses. People loved the idea of them working together for charity, standing hand in hand as strong women of the monarchy. But reality was much different. Things began to shift quietly. Meghan felt like an outsider walking into a world where rules existed before she was even born. Every move she made was watched, judged and sometimes criticized. Simple things like clothing, words or gestures became headlines. She struggled to breathe inside that pressure. Kate tried to maintain balance, but she had already spent years learning how to survive in this royal cage. The world saw glamour, but behind the curtain there were moments of discomfort, misunderstanding and a silent battle of identities. Their differences were not small. Meghan had a voice shaped by independence, media, acting and American culture. Kate had a voice shaped by tradition, monarchy and expectations for a future queen. Meghan wanted freedom. Kate wanted peace. Meghan wanted change. Kate wanted stability. The clash was not always loud, but sometimes silence carries more power than anger. People think conflict always means fighting or shouting, but inside the palace conflict can look like small glances, tight smiles and rooms that feel colder even when no one speaks. They attended events together, waved at crowds and posed for cameras, yet something inside them never fully connected. Meghan expected sisterhood. Kate expected respect for tradition. Two expectations, two different worlds. The palace tried to keep everything clean in the public eye because reputation mattered more than feelings. Meghan sometimes felt unsupported and misunderstood. Kate felt responsible for keeping order. The pressure began to grow like a shadow that followed them everywhere. Staff felt it, family felt it, and soon the whole world would feel it too. This is the beginning of their unseen clashes. A story that the world only saw through polished photos but never through truth. As we go deeper, you will hear what happened behind closed doors and why small differences turned into storms that shook the entire royal family. Keep listening because the next chapter reveals moments that changed everything. Meghan and Kate quickly became the center of media obsession. Newspapers compared their outfits, smiles, speeches, and even how they held their hands. It was like the world needed competition between them. Meghan wore a modern dress and headlines said she broke rules. Kate wore a traditional dress and headlines praised her grace. These comparisons created invisible tension. Meghan felt judged for being different while Kate felt pressured to remain perfect. Imagine walking into a family where millions watch your every move. One wrong word becomes breaking news. One emotional moment becomes scandal. That was Meghan's daily life. She once said she never imagined becoming part of something so controlled. She believed love would be enough to carry her through royal duties. But love alone cannot fight centuries of tradition. Kate had years of training. She learned how to speak carefully, how to smile at reporters even when tired, how to handle criticism without reacting. Meghan came with passion and expression. She was used to speaking openly about issues like race, inequality and mental health. The palace was not ready for such openness. Royals prefer silence over statements. Meghan could not understand why truth had to be hidden while Kate understood that silence sometimes protects the crown. Slowly small misunderstandings grew. A dress fitting before Meghan's wedding turned into tears that no one expected. One side cried from stress. The other cried from pressure. Stories leaked and the public took sides. Some believed Meghan made Kate cry. Others believed Kate hurt Meghan. The palace never clarified, which made the situation worse. Kate felt the weight of public reaction. Meghan felt betrayed that her pain was ignored. The media made Kate the angel and Meghan the troublemaker. Instead of bringing them closer, headlines pushed them apart. Meghan wanted support and warmth. Kate wanted peace and order. Two different needs neither met fully. Each public appearance became harder. Cameras captured stiff body language, forced smiles and distance. Yet no one spoke the truth. They lived under one roof but stood on different emotional islands. This silence became the real battlefield. Staff whispered that tension between the two duchesses made working conditions harder. People avoided choosing sides inside the palace because one wrong move could end a career. Meghan felt trapped. Kate felt responsible to protect tradition. The storm kept building until something had to break. And soon it did. In the next part, you will hear how this private tension turned into global headlines and why both women walked deeper into a situation that neither of them asked for. Things were about to change forever. The silent tension between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton slowly began to spill into the outside world. What once lived behind palace doors was now becoming visible in small but powerful ways. Reporters began noticing distance between the two women during public events. They stood apart instead of side by side, they interacted less, and when they did speak to each other, it looked practiced instead of natural. Body language does not lie. Even when words are hidden, gestures tell stories. Their smiles no longer looked warm, their eyes did not shine with sisterhood, and audiences around the world began asking what was happening. But the truth is deeper than what cameras captured. Meghan struggled to adjust to royal rules and expectations. She was used to speaking freely, expressing emotions, and being able to control her own image. In Hollywood, she built her identity with confidence and independence, but royal life did not allow that type of freedom. Every word had to be approved. Every interview had to be discussed. Every appearance required perfection. Meghan felt like she was losing herself. Kate, on the other hand, had already survived this stage of pressure. She had years to prepare for life as a royal woman. She entered the family slowly, learning quietly, following guidance, and accepting that personal emotion comes second to duty. Kate did not challenge the monarchy. Meghan questioned it, sometimes without realizing the storm she was creating. This difference became the heart of their conflict. One believed in tradition. The other wanted transformation. Inside the palace, things became harder. Rumors say Meghan believed Kate was not supportive enough during the early months of her marriage. She wanted comfort, warmth, and someone to stand beside her as she faced intense media attacks. Meghan felt alone. Kate believed support should be subtle and private. She thought calm silence was the best way to guide Meghan. Two different types of help. Two different languages of care. And both women felt misunderstood. Meanwhile, Prince Harry noticed his wife was hurting. He had seen the media destroy his mother, Princess Diana, and he feared history might repeat itself. That fear shaped many of his decisions and created more distance between the couples. Meghan needed protection. Harry wanted to defend her. Kate stood with William, who believed in preserving the institution above personal emotion. Soon it was not only Meghan and Kate. It became Meghan and Harry on one side, Kate and William on the other. Two couples with love for their roles but divided by belief. Their personal worlds turned into public drama. Every newspaper headline made things worse. Stories about jealousy, arguments, and disagreements filled front pages. Most reports exaggerated facts, but by then it no longer mattered. The world had already chosen sides. Some defended Meghan, saying she was treated unfairly as a mixed-race American woman entering one of the most traditional families on earth. Others defended Kate, believing she handled pressure with grace and Meghan created chaos. No matter which side people chose, one thing became clear. The bond between the two duchesses was breaking. Meghan and Kate still attended events together, but the distance looked stronger every time. The palace tried to hide it, But even silence becomes loud when tension is real. And soon one major event would expose everything. The public was about to witness a shift that no one expected. When Meghan and Harry decided to step back from royal duties, it shook the world. But the truth behind that decision began forming long before their announcement. It started here, in this quiet emotional divide, where two powerful women stood in the same palace but lived in separate realities. In the next part, we go deeper into this moment and reveal what led to one of the most shocking royal exits in modern history. The tension reached a new point when Meghan and Kate began appearing less together in royal events. What once looked like a united family slowly became two separate teams. The media noticed it first. News outlets questioned why Meghan and Harry moved away from Kensington Palace, creating their own household at Frogmore. The official story claimed they needed personal space for a growing family, but insiders believed the separation was to ease tension between Meghan and Kate. Living apart meant fewer daily interactions, fewer chances for disagreement, and fewer uncomfortable moments behind palace walls. Meghan hoped distance would bring some peace. Instead, rumors grew louder. Stories leaked into the press about disagreements over staff, schedules, and even how royal work should be done. Meghan sometimes felt unsupported and judged, while Kate felt Meghan demanded too many changes too quickly. They both wanted the family to succeed, but their methods were different. Kate followed tradition with patience. Meghan wanted faster progress, a modern face for the monarchy. This difference made even small choices feel heavy. Public events exposed more than words ever could. When they walked together, they stood apart. When they smiled, their eyes looked tired. People watching at home could feel something was wrong even if they did not know why. Then came the turning point. Meghan and Harry decided to step away from royal duties and move toward a more independent life. To the world, this decision felt sudden. Inside the palace, it was a long build-up of pressure, misunderstanding, and emotional exhaustion. Kate reportedly felt shocked, hurt that Meghan and Harry would leave instead of trying to heal the family from within. Meghan felt she had no other choice if she wanted peace. Their paths separated that day, and nothing would ever be the same again. After Meghan and Harry announced they were stepping back from royal duties, the world reacted with shock and curiosity. Fans, critics, and media outlets all wanted to know why the couple chose this path. For Meghan, it was not about rebellion or disrespect. She wanted freedom, privacy, and the chance to raise her family away from constant public scrutiny. For Kate, the decision was confusing and difficult. She had spent years learning how to balance personal feelings with royal responsibility. Kate understood the pressures Meghan faced, but she also believed that loyalty to the institution came first. This difference created another layer of tension. Inside the palace, Meghan and Harry had to navigate not only media attacks but also internal politics. They were trying to protect themselves while maintaining respect for the family. Kate and William, on the other hand, had to continue their roles without showing conflict publicly. Every move was calculated, every expression measured. Meghan struggled with the constant judgment and the feeling that no one truly understood her. She felt isolated in a system that required silence. Kate, meanwhile, silently carried responsibility for maintaining the family image, understanding that any public disagreement could damage centuries of tradition. This made reconciliation between them nearly impossible. The world saw headlines about clashes, rumors, and strained relationships. Inside, it was a mix of disappointment, misunderstanding, and emotional fatigue. Meghan wanted compassion and understanding. Kate wanted order and loyalty. Both felt constrained in different ways. The exit of Meghan and Harry highlighted the differences in coping, personality, and approach to royal life. It also set the stage for the interviews and public statements that would later reveal more about their struggles. The unseen tension had finally reached a breaking point, and the decisions made that year would continue to influence both women's lives and the public perception of the modern monarchy. After leaving the main royal duties, Meghan and Harry moved to North America, seeking privacy and a life free from constant media scrutiny. This decision did not mean the tension with Kate disappeared. Distance made communication less frequent and rumors more persistent. Every action they took was analyzed, every interview dissected for hidden meaning. Meghan wanted to create a life where she could speak freely about causes she cared about, including mental health, racial equality, and women's rights. Kate, still in the palace, had to focus on duty, tradition, and preparing for her future role as queen. Their approaches could not have been more different. Meghan expressed herself openly while Kate maintained composure in every situation. Meghan wanted support, understanding, and emotional connection, even when the palace protocols prevented it. Kate believed in quiet resilience, learning to manage pressure without confrontation. This difference fueled media stories that exaggerated misunderstandings between them. The public began seeing Meghan as the disruptor and Kate as the perfect royal, creating a divide among fans. Meghan and Harry understood the risk but chose freedom over image, while Kate and William stayed to protect the monarchy's stability. This separation highlighted a fundamental issue. The royal system is not built for personal expression. It favors silence, patience, and adherence to tradition. Meghan's openness challenged that system, while Kate's patience upheld it. Both women carried weight in different ways. Meghan's struggles with isolation and judgment became public through interviews and statements, while Kate silently managed pressure behind the palace doors. The contrast between them became symbolic of a broader clash between tradition and change. Their paths had diverged, yet they remained connected through family, history, and global attention. The unseen clash between Meghan and Kate had reached its full complexity, showing the world that personal differences, expectations, and the pressures of royalty could create a gulf even between women who shared a similar role and a deep connection through family. The tension between Meghan and Kate became even more visible after the Oprah interview. Meghan spoke openly about her struggles with mental health, media pressure, and feeling unsupported inside the royal family. She shared experiences that the public had only guessed at before, revealing moments of isolation, judgment, and emotional stress. Kate, as expected, remained silent. She continued her work quietly, attending events, raising her children, and preparing for her future role. The contrast between Meghan's openness and Kate's reserved nature drew even more attention. People began debating online and in the media about who was right and who was wrong. Some defended Meghan, saying she was brave enough to speak the truth. Others defended Kate, believing she followed protocol and protected the monarchy as she should. Both women had valid reasons for their actions. Meghan wanted freedom and emotional support. Kate wanted stability and order. Their differences were amplified because of constant scrutiny. Even small gestures like a smile or a glance were analyzed as signs of conflict. Behind palace walls, relationships were strained but not necessarily hostile. Both women were doing their best in a situation that demanded perfection, compliance, and patience. Meghan faced public criticism for leaving, while Kate faced pressure to maintain appearances and handle family responsibilities flawlessly. The world only saw the headlines, but the reality was far more nuanced. It was not a battle of hate but a clash of personalities, expectations, and coping methods. This phase of their story highlighted how the monarchy operates under centuries of tradition, how difficult it can be for someone from a different culture to fit in, and how silence and openness can both carry strength in different ways. The public learned more about the human side of royalty, understanding that Meghan and Kate were not enemies but two women navigating impossible pressures in their own ways. Even after Meghan and Harry settled in North America, the story between Meghan and Kate continued to fascinate the world. The media often framed it as a rivalry, but insiders say the reality was far more complex. Meghan had left the palace seeking freedom, emotional support, and a life where she could raise her children with privacy. Kate remained in the royal system, balancing public duties, family responsibilities, and the pressures of tradition. Both women carried heavy responsibilities, but in very different ways. Meghan wanted to be heard, to have her experiences validated, and to break away from the strict rules of royal life. Kate wanted to protect the monarchy, preserve family harmony, and teach her children the importance of duty. These differences were not personal attacks but reflections of their unique roles and personalities. Fans and critics often misunderstood them, turning personal choices into public debates. Every appearance, smile, or comment was analyzed as evidence of conflict. Inside the palace, the tension was subtle but real. Meghan sometimes felt isolated and judged for being different. Kate carried the weight of expectations for the crown, knowing that any misstep could have consequences for generations. Even without confrontation, the gap between them grew because of cultural differences, media pressure, and personal coping styles. Both women were learning to navigate a world that demanded perfection while facing scrutiny from every angle. Their story is a reminder that public perception rarely captures the private reality. Meghan and Kate were not enemies, not rivals, and not dramatic figures for entertainment. They were two women with shared family ties, different approaches, and immense pressure placed on them from birth or circumstance. Understanding their story requires empathy for both sides and recognition of the challenges of modern royalty, where every choice carries weight, and every word can change public opinion. Over time, Meghan and Kate's paths became clearer to the public. Meghan focused on building her own life in North America, working on projects that allowed her to speak freely about causes she cared about, including mental health, women's empowerment, and racial equality. She created a life where she could define herself on her own terms, outside the strict rules of the palace. Kate, meanwhile, stayed in the United Kingdom, continuing her royal duties with calm efficiency. She remained dedicated to charity work, raising her children, and preparing for the future role of queen. The contrast between their lives highlighted the differences in their priorities, personalities, and coping styles. Meghan wanted independence and expression. Kate valued stability and tradition. This did not mean one was right and the other was wrong. Both were handling extraordinary pressure in different ways. The media continued to exaggerate small moments into conflicts, but those who knew the family say there was never open hostility. Instead, it was a clash of approaches, expectations, and cultural norms. Meghan and Kate's story showed how difficult it can be to integrate a modern voice into an ancient institution. Their choices also influenced public perception of the monarchy and raised important questions about mental health, fairness, and support within royal life. Fans began to understand that Meghan and Kate were not simple caricatures. Meghan represented change and independence, while Kate represented continuity and responsibility. Both women have their own strengths, challenges, and lessons to share. In many ways, their story is not just about royalty but about the universal struggle to balance personal happiness with family, duty, and public expectations. As history unfolds, the unseen tension between Meghan and Kate will remain a significant moment in modern royal history, teaching the world about resilience, courage, and the complexities of family relationships under extreme pressure. The story of Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton is not a story of hatred. It is a story of pressure, expectations, and the struggle to balance personal identity with royal duty. Meghan entered the palace with hope, love, and ambition. Kate had already learned how to navigate the rules of royal life with patience, grace, and composure. Their differences were not flaws but reflections of their personalities and experiences. Meghan wanted freedom, voice, and emotional connection. Kate valued tradition, silence, and stability. Living under the constant scrutiny of the media made even small misunderstandings appear larger than life. Every smile, gesture, or glance was examined and debated. The world often saw only what the headlines said, but the real story was behind closed doors, silent, private, and deeply human. Meghan's decision to step back from royal duties shocked the world, but it was a choice for personal well-being, privacy, and family. Kate continued to serve the monarchy, carrying responsibility for the crown and preparing for the future. Neither woman was wrong. Both made difficult choices in situations that demanded perfection and resilience. Their story teaches an important lesson. Strength comes in many forms. Meghan's strength is her courage to speak, to leave a life that felt restrictive, and to build her own path. Kate's strength is her patience, discipline, and dedication to maintaining a centuries-old institution while raising a family. Both women have left a mark on the modern monarchy. History will remember them not as enemies or rivals, but as two women who faced impossible pressure, made difficult decisions, and changed the royal family in different ways. Behind the palace walls, their clashes were unseen but real. They were moments of misunderstanding, cultural difference, and emotional struggle. In the end, their story is not about conflict but about resilience, identity, and the human side of royalty. Meghan and Kate walked different paths, yet both showed the world what it means to survive, adapt, and make choices under extraordinary circumstances.